Good morning, everybody. How are you today? This is Mr. Mohammed Ammar. I'm going to teach you a social studies lesson. It's related to the reaction to the colonial powers and how the people were eager to restore their countries back, and the Middle Eastern people were doing great efforts and sacrificing their own life in order to have control and over domination for their countries. And we also explored the great role of the Suez Canal in the controlling the world trade at this time. So we'll start with listen to a summarized video and then go to the question and then explore them in detail. Get ready? The Suez Canal. For sure, Suez Canal does play a great role in the world trade. That's why the colonizing power were eager to have an upper hand over it. Okay, this is summary for our lesson. The rise of nationalism. Nationalism means you have a great feeling of love for your own country. You are very proud that you belong to Saudi Arabia, to Egypt, to Tunisia, to Pakistan, or this or that. So at this time there was a rise or high level of nationalism and loving your own country. Ordinary people became better educated and they wanted to be free from oppression and they wanted to rule their own countries. So people received good education and they were eager to get the country back. The people of the Middle East at this time felt a strong sense of pride and belonging to their own countries. So their education led to the high level of pride and belonging to their own countries. Arab nationalism. Sharif Hussein was part of the Hashemite family. They were from the clan of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sharif Hussein family lived in Saudi Arabia and they looked after the holy places of Mecca and Medina. So the Sharif family at this time gives due emphasis and importance to Mecca and Medina. Impacts of colonial rule. What is the effect or result of the colonial rule? Most Middle Eastern countries were under the control of colonizers. We all know that most of them were basically England and France. And the local rulers were treated as inferior. Some businessmen sent their children even to mission schools. Young army officers were trained by colonial armies at this time. Rebellion against colonial rule. There were a number of protests against colonial rule in 1920s. At this time, the people of the Middle East were not eager at all to leave the colonizers, like take all their treasures. So they bought into this and they asked them to leave as soon as they can. Egypt, Britain really refused to let Egypt and Sudan become independent. So Great Britain was like over dominating, controlling Egypt and Sudan, and they were like having an upper hand over each and every single detail in both countries. When the British people refused to leave those countries, Egypt and Sudan, this led to a successful national uprising or revolution in 1990, which was known as the First Revolution. Britain remained in Egypt to control Suez Canal, and we all know that Suez Canal is of paramount importance for the whole world. Egypt really became independent in 1952. In Algeria, the great Algerian people demanded independence from France in 1954. And actually, this led to many fighting between the French people and the Algerian people. Many people were killed, and that's why Algeria is always known as the country of million martyrs. Algeria became independent in 1962. So at this time, Algerian people were like uprising. They were defending their own country against the French people with the support of Egypt and many other countries. They restored their countries back, but after a great loss of many great people who died and sacrificed their own life for their own great country, Algeria. Also in Syria, the Syrian people fought for independence from France. Syria became independent republic, independent country in 1944. But really, French troops occupied Syria until April 1946. Okay, so they left these countries after the great sacrifices and the great role that the people of these countries exerted for their own beloved nations. Okay. Now we go to the question, the reaction to the colonial rule. What is a republic? What is the meaning of the word republic? Republic means a country ruled by elected representative. If you choose, if the people of a country are given the option or the choice to select their own rulers, this is called a republic. So a republic means a country freely ruled by elected representative or people well chosen by their figures well chosen by their people. What led to increased sense of nationalism? A strong sense of pride. People started to feel very proud of their own countries and they were belonging to their own nation. That's why they said no to the colonial powers. We no longer want you to stay here, so please, Britain and France, please leave our country and never come back again. We no longer need you, so you have to stop coming here again or controlling our countries. Number three, at this time we know that the Ottoman ruler or the Turkey at this time were like over dominating or trying to control the Middle East. So Britain wanted to get the Ottoman rulers out of the Middle East countries. That's why Britain encouraged people in Middle East to rebel against Ottoman rulers, to say no to the Ottoman rulers. And this like was a fighting between the or a fight between the British people and the Ottoman rulers. Number four, Sharif Hussein was part of the Hashemite family. He was a part of it, and they descended, as we said, from the clan of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Sharif Hussein was part of what? Was part of the Hashemite family, and they descended from the clan of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hashemite family looked after holy places of Mecca and Medina, which was like a great role they did play. Sharif Hussein's sons were Abdullah and Faisal, and Sharif Hussein and his sons became the king of one of Middle East nation of Iraq and Jordan. There were like violent protests against colonial ruler in 1920, so the people were like eager to keep them away from their own countries, to restore their own countries back, and to have a free Egypt and free Syria, free Lebanon, free Algeria. We no longer want the British and the French to control our countries anymore. That's why they start to say no to those colonizers. Number nine, Britain refused to let Egypt, Sudan independent at first. Why? So because the Egyptian people and Sudanese were dealing peacefully with them at the beginning, but after the armed conflict and struggle, the British people were scared because of that, and they start to lose many people. That's why they were forced to leave Egypt and Sudan. Number 10, the first revolution started in Egypt in 1919, which had a great role within the basin of time. And Egypt really became independent in 1952. Number 12, people of Algeria demanded independence. Independence means to be free from the rule of France in 1954. Actually, Algeria, the great country with the great people who sacrificed their souls and life for the sake of their own country, Algeria really became independent in 1962. Okay, after the Algerian people, or within the process of keeping the French people out of their countries, the Algerian people lost many people as martyrs, and that's why the Algeria was called the land of, or the country of million martyrs. Million people were killed in this fight, and they were like doing a great job for the sake of their own country. Also, Syria became independent republic in 1944. Syria became independent republic without any kind of occupation in 1944. And the French troops remained in Syria until April 1946 when they started to leave their country. That's why nationalism, high level of education, people willingness to restore their countries back, a high level of pride, forced the British and the French to leave their Middle East countries. Also, Suez Canal had a great role to be played. That's why like the French people, the British people, especially the British people, were like less eager to leave it and to lose the control over Suez Canal because it does have a great effect in the world trade. That's why the Suez Canal and other factors were very crucial for the process of staying in the Arab and the Middle East countries. So this is Suez Canal, and it does have a crucial role and it's great importance in the world trade. That's all. Thank you so much, and have a nice morning. Thank you.